welcome back to my channel. Cleopatra's here to help me with this video, aren't you beauty? Today I'm going to take you through the Dolce & Gabbana range of perfumes. There's been some different ones discontinued, some new releases, so I wanted to do a video just doing an overview of the entire range that's currently being sold by Dolce & Gabbana and update you on what's changed. If you are new here, then hello, welcome. I'm all about perfumes. I have hundreds of videos like this going through whole ranges, new releases, perfumers, so do check out my other content. And if you're a regular viewer, do make sure you're subscribed and give the video a thumbs up, that really helps me. And I will leave links in the description box to where you can get the perfumes I talk about in this video all around the world. The ones that are discontinued, I'll see if I can find them being sold anywhere and leave the links there as well. And of course you can get in the UK from Look Fantastic all the Dolce & Gabbana range with 21% off using my code LFTF Soki. Cool, so Dolce & Gabbana is actually quite unusual in that most perfume brands have a company that actually is in charge of creating their fragrances. It usually isn't the designer house itself, it's usually the brand is licensed to a perfume company who then come up with the new releases and get them made and everything. Until recently, Dolce & Gabbana was doing that and it was owned by Shiseido, but a couple of years ago they brought it back in-house, and there's not many companies that do that. Chanel and Dior do that, but there's not many others. So they actually manage it all themselves. And they use a company called Symrise to create the actual fragrances. Perfumers are employed by these big companies, and that's the company they use and where they get their perfumers from. So I think I'm gonna start with the newest release, which is Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. This came out last year and I think it's been pretty successful for them. It's created by the same perfumer that created Acro Bake, who is called Olivier Cresp, and he has created hundreds of perfumes over the years. He created Angel, he's created so many massive perfumes. He has his whole range, Acro, and Bake is probably the best seller there. And he also created Devotion, which is super similar. So this is like a lemon meringue fragrance. You've got orange and citrusy notes, and then you get this sweet, sugary vanilla base. It's quite sexy, it's like sweet but still summery because of the orange and lemon notes in. I actually wore this when I went to Sicily last year. Dolce & Gabbana is a Sicilian brand, of course, and my partner was born in Sicily, Stephen, so I've been quite a few times. I do love the Sicilian culture and all the patterns and designs and everything. And Devotion, the perfume, is named after one of the Dolce & Gabbana bags, which is called Devotion, that has this same heart symbol on. And I do think if you like vanilla, this is a nice summer vanilla perfume. Sometimes vanilla can be so heavy, quite wintry, but this one just gives it that summer twist. So I do like this one. This is definitely a Soki approved fragrance from the range. And I would anticipate that later this year or next year we'll get an intense version or an eau de toilette or something like that. So I can't wait to see what they come up with. We then have the Dolce & Gabbana Q fragrances, which I think stands for Queen. These are not really Soki approved fragrances. The original Eau de Parfum, in my view, performs like a weak eau de toilette. It was marketed as having a cherry note. I was so excited to try it. You could barely smell any cherry. I got some citrus in the opening and then it quickly died down to be like a woody base. Very, very light. I don't recommend it. They then released an intense version, which is better. This performs more like a normal eau de parfum, not really like an intense one. And this one has like a black cherry note in, so it's a little bit more wintry with heliotrope, and it does last better. But I'm still looking for that really cherry perfume that I hoped the original Q would be. So the Q perfumes I find a bit underwhelming. Much prefer Devotion from their new releases. So we then come to the Dolce range, and these perfumes are the ones that have these super cute flower caps. They really are beautiful bottles, and there's been a lot of these. So the original Dolce, which had like a white cap and slightly green liquid, I was not personally a fan of, though it is a very good perfume. It's a very, very strong floral fragrance, a very white floral, intense, strong narcissus, but it was also quite musky, very strong. If you really like white florals, this is a good perfume. It really lasts. But I personally find, particularly the muskiness in it, I found it comes out a little bit old-fashioned in my view. They also had Rose Excelsior, which was like very strong, intense, rosy take on it, and one called Floral Drops as well, which was also heavy white florals. Those two are discontinued. The original Dolce is still made. Probably the most famous Dolce is Dolce Garden. This is a great sweet coconut perfume. This is like a vanilla-y coconut. Sometimes coconut perfumes like Bronze Goddess, like my Aphrodite, use kind of tropical, like fresh notes, which can take over from the coconut. If you just want to smell like sweet coconut, this is a great perfume. It really does last, it's strong, but it's a vanilla-y sweet coconut. There are some that are discontinued from the Dolce range. Dolce Lily, I will see if these are still available and link them below, but that one's no longer on the Dolce & Gabbana website. That was a very fresh, citrusy lily, very light. They also had Dolce Peony, which I really liked, very pretty, but very light. Those two were both performed, in my view, like a very light eau de toilette. In fact, correction, Dolce Peony might not be discontinued. Sorry, I have just seen it's on their website. They do still make Dolce Rose, which if you're a fan of rose perfumes, this is great for very hot weather. It's a very light, fresh rose that comes across quite dewy and quite green. Very, very refreshing, very pretty. Again, it does perform like an eau de toilette, but good for hot weather. If you wear a rose perfume, normally like Lancome Bidol, and you're looking for something for like really hot, humid weather, and you still want rose, then this I do recommend. We then have Dolce Shine that's yellow. This has a hint of mango as it opens, but it then fades and becomes like a very delicate floral, very light, very warm, but I was really hoping this was going to be loads of mango, but you just don't really get much mango from this after the first sort of 20 seconds. If you do like mango perfumes, you should definitely check out my Aphrodite. It's the main note. There are then two relatively new ones which haven't come to the UK yet for some reason, but recently I was traveling and I got to smell these in an airport, and I was gonna buy them, but when I smelled them I was particularly underwhelmed by them, so I just didn't want to buy them because I just didn't like them. First of all, Dolce Violet. So this one, violet is quite a powdery note. It's used in like lipstick, eyeshadow, that type of very feminine fragrance. And this one has some blackcurrant in, which I was excited about. I love blackcurrant, but for me this came across as kind of floral, powdery. It faded quite quick and it felt a little bit more dated, more like original Dolce, so I didn't love it, and I didn't get a lot of that blackcurrant that I was hoping for. And then the new one, Blue Jasmine, that came out this year. This one has jasmine as the main note, but I found it quite a green jasmine. It says it has fig in it, which normally I like, but again, I just found it just quite boring, unexciting, and like there are so many other great jasmine fragrances out there, like Armani My Way, so I was quite underwhelmed by that as well. So those are all the Dolce ones. So definitely my recommendations are Dolce Garden for coconut, Dolce Rose for a very light rose, and the original Dolce if you like quite heavy white florals, then it is a good perfume. So we then come to Light Blue, one of the most famous Dolce & Gabbana fragrances. So this original Light Blue Eau de Toilette is famous for being a very aquatic, oceanic fragrance. It's very clean. I know a lot of people do love Light Blue. Personally, I find the Eau de Toilette is not very good for lasting. It's so light. They do an intense version, which I definitely recommend over the original. Again, it has that very clean, almost like clean cotton, fresh laundry, and a lot of citrusy notes in there, lemon and green apple in the opening. Last year they released a limited edition called Light Blue Summer Vibes, which I found really underwhelming. It was just like a light citrus and faded very quickly. Normally they release a limited edition every year, but they haven't this year. They're still selling Summer Vibes. This might be because of this change of ownership from Shiseido to bring it in-house, because they were releasing these limited editions every year, and usually they smelled the same, just of lemon, and they were getting a bit, I was getting a bit tired of them. My favorite version of Light Blue is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever. This is, first of all, is an eau de parfum, and it performs well, and it's a beautiful lemon, orange and orange blossom. It has much more complexity and body to it than original light blue. I wear it in the hot weather in the summer and it does last, and I get compliments on it. It's really, really pretty, beautiful orange blossom. It isn't on the Dolce & Gabbana website anymore, so I think it might be discontinued. I have seen it still on some websites, so I'll leave the links below, but so sad that this was discontinued. I have a backup bottle of this as well as this that I'm wearing at the moment, and I definitely plan in my range to create an orange blossom perfume, so maybe I could create a replacement for Light Blue Forever. Let me know what you think in the comments if that's a good idea. So we then come to Dolce & Gabbana The One. This came out in 2006. It's had Scarlett Johansson as the face of the fragrance for a while, and this is a really sexy evening sweet fragrance. Along with lots of vanilla and some amber, you have quite a peachy note in it. Personally, I find it quite similar to Dior's Hypnotic Poison, though not quite as heavy, and I have smelt it on people and said to them, oh, are you wearing Hypnotic Poison? And they said, no, it's Dolce & Gabbana The One. So I do find it very similar. Very sweet, very sexy, very intense, quite heavy, definitely a date night fragrance. More recently, they released it in a gold edition called The One Gold Intense. This isn't as sweet and vanilla-y. This one has a patchouli base, rose, and it's kind of a bit like a classic Chypre fragrance, a little bit like Coco Mademoiselle. I found this a little bit boring and underwhelming. And then it looks like the only one is still in production. So this has a coffee undertone. We then have a lot of sweet caramel and vanilla, so it's like an even sweeter version of The One. I personally really like the Only One too, which has been discontinued. This had berries in. I'll see if I can find it and link it below, but it's unlikely. That one is discontinued. So in The One, they just have The One, Gold The One, and the Only One, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Only One gets discontinued too. So we then come to L'Impératrice. This was actually part of a big collection that they released called D&G Anthology Collection, I think, with all different numbers. Came out in 2009, and basically all the other versions in like perfumes in the Anthology Collection are discontinued, but L'Impératrice seemed to sell really well, and now they still make it even after discontinuing the rest of them years ago. It is quite unusual because you've got rhubarb, kiwi and watermelon as the main notes, and there aren't many perfumes that have any of those as their main notes, never mind all three, and I think that's why it does sell, because people that are looking for those fragrances, this is what they can turn to. It's a relatively light, fresh, summery fragrance, but it comes in quite a big bottle, 100ml, and you can usually get it at quite an affordable price, so it is quite a nice summer perfume. It reminds me a little bit of some of the Escada summer perfumes, of the Valentino Born in Roma Coral, which also has a kiwi top note. Very fun and quite good value for money. So we then have Dolce & Gabbana Pour Femme. I have the Pour Femme Intense version, which is discontinued, but the Eau de Parfum original is still made, and this is quite a marshmallowy sweet fragrance, great for the winter. It then has quite a lot of orange in, a bit of raspberry. It really reminds me of Parfum de Marly Oriana, but it's much more affordable. So I do recommend this at winter time when you want like that sweet marshmallow type scent. And one thing I've noticed on Dolce & Gabbana's website is their first perfume released in 1992, just called Dolce & Gabbana. People love this, and people have, when I worked in a shop, people used to come in asking for it and say no, it's discontinued. It was quite a heavy aldehyde floral fragrance, very like an 80s 90s scent. Now what I've noticed is it's now back and listed on the Dolce & Gabbana website. I highly doubt that it will smell the same as the original version, probably because some of the ingredients in that will have been banned by now, because they're always banning ingredients. And it says on the Dolce & Gabbana website that it has patchouli, rosemary, orange blossom, so it looks like it's kind of an aromatic-y fragrance. I can imagine that this will not smell like the original, but I did want to bring that to you because it has appeared on their website. They're actually, when I go on the website and click add to cart, it says not currently available. So maybe it's going to be launched later this year. The other one that people used to ask for a lot was Dolce & Gabbana Sicily. Again, this is discontinued. This one had a unique banana top notes and then quite fresh like orange blossom, honeysuckle fragrances. Again, I've seen that they have Sicily listed on their website and it's £255, so it's part of their more exclusive range. And it says the original Sicily now takes on a more contemporary edge, so they've changed it. Showcases noble Mediterranean ingredients, so it's got bergamot, heliotrope, sandalwood. So I don't see any banana or anything, so that's probably quite different as well, unfortunately. But I did want to mention those because I do remember people always asking for them. So that is the tour of the Dolce & Gabbana fragrance range. They do have their more exclusive, expensive range. They're hundreds of pounds, but I didn't want to cover that. But yeah, I do think that they are a brand that has some great perfumes and some really like bad value for money perfumes. So you have to know what you're buying with Dolce & Gabbana, but definitely their Light Blue Forever is my favorite from them. I'll see if I can find it and link it below. But guys, let me know what your favorite Dolce & Gabbana perfume is. Is it still made? Is it discontinued? Let me know in the comments. I do read all your comments. But that's it. So thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.